Hello class, welcome to our today's session where we shall look at the petty cash book as the fourth type of cash book. So far we have looked at the single column cash book or the one column cash book, where we said they are the same as the cash account and the bank account, which we prepared actually when we were doing the ledger accounts. We also went to the double column cash book or the two column cash book, where we said it is now a combination of cash account and bank account, and then they are maintained in the same statement. We talked about the three-column cash book, whereby we consider now the element of the discount received and discount allowed. And now, today, I want us to look at the petty cash book. The petty cash book, just as the name itself suggests, petty, it is used to record small amounts which actually don't qualify to be called or to be recorded in the main business cash book. This particular cash book, it is normally prepared in what we call the imprest system. It uses the imprest system of accounting. And if I can start by explaining the imprest system of accounting, the imprest system, it is where the petty cashier is the person who maintains the petty cash book, is given a certain amount of money which is enough to take him or her for a certain particular period, normally monthly. At the end of the period, the accountant finds out the amount spent by the petty cashier by accessing the petty cash book. The moment the accountant has known the amount the petty cashier spent, the petty cashier is given back that amount that is spent. If I can put some figures in that explanation, if, for example, an organization has known or has determined that in a particular month, they can spend maybe 8,000 in petty transactions, the person who maintains that, who is the petty cashier, is given the 8,000. The 8,000 is supposed to run for that particular month. At the end of the month, you might find maybe the person has spent 7,600. What does that mean? That simply means that the person has got 400. If he was given 80,000 and he has spent 7,600, he must be having 400. What will happen at the beginning of the next period? The person will be given the 7,600 that he spent, and then plus the 400 that he has, it gives a balance of 8,000 at the beginning. Then another period starts and lands. At the end, maybe the person has spent 7,200, meaning that he has 800. He's given back the 7,200, and then that takes him back to the 80,000 that he should have. That is actually what we call the imprest system, where the accountant gives the petty cashier a certain amount of money, and that amount is normally referred as a float. That amount of money is referred as a float. At the end of each and every period, the person is given the amount that was spent in that particular period to give the petty cashier the required float at the beginning of the next period. You'll find that the petty cash book will have this kind of a format. It has got the receipt column. Receipt column is used to record the float amount. The float amount. It has got the date the petty transaction took place, the details, which is actually the name of the petty transaction, the total amount that was paid in that petty transaction, and here we have got the expenses columns. In this case, we have any expense that is touching on postage is recorded here, any expense that is touching on cleaning is put here, any expense that is touching on stationery is recorded here, any expense that is touching on traveling here, and the ledger, it is normally used to record transactions that are involving payment of creditors for maybe the petty jobs that have been done in the business. I want to illustrate that. Remember, first of all, the expenses columns, they will keep on changing from business to business, and in an examination, you will be told the columns to prepare or the columns to use. it must be indicated in the examination question. So the postage, training, stationery, traveling, and leisure, they are just but an illustration, but you can find a different scenario depending on the question. Before you put the amount on the expenses column, it must be first of all be captured on the amount here. So let us look at an example so that the point can be driven home. Here you are told that ABC Limited has a cashier who was issued with 20,000 as the cash float at the beginning of the month of May 2023. The following petty expenses were incurred during the month. Prepare a detailed petty cash book showing the balance to be carried to the next period. These are actually now the expenses that were paid in that particular period. So in this particular question, though not told, you are told to have the expense columns of postage, clearing, stationery, traveling, and the leisure. So what you simply do here, on this side, as I said, the receipt side records only the float amount. The receipt side records the float amount. Remember we said, we are told that he was given a float of 20,000. So it was 1st May, you can write here balance brought forward of 20,000. It is not recorded on this side. Remember from the payment here, payment amount going this way, it is for the expenses, but this amount was not an expense, but it was given to be spent. Then you'll find that on 2nd May, stamps were bought worth 800. Stamps, they fall under the category of postage. So you write 800 on the amount and 800 for that particular column that corresponds to this expense. So it must be twice. Each amount that is appearing here, it must appear twice. It must be first of all on the payment amount and then on the corresponding expenses. On that, there was a bus fare of 1,200. Bus fare falls under traveling, 1,200 here. On 5th, there was amount that was paid for cleaning, 2,400, which actually falls for cleaning, yeah, 2,400. 7th, fuel was paid, 1,500. Fuel will go to the traveling. You will find that on 10th, wages were paid. Wages that were paid, they were paid to a cleaning person, so they fall under cleaning. On 14th, the stamps, 2,000, they fall under postage. 19th, we paid Jack. Jack, remember, this is now a petty creditor. That's why it is under the ledger. Ledger records amount paid to the petty creditors. Then fuel costs, this one falls under traveling. Biro pens, this one will fall under stationaries, like that. What you'll do after recording like that, as simple as that, you total the amount for each expense column like that. You put the totals here. This total here, the totals for the expense column is the same as the total for the payment amount, like that. And then you'll find that now the total amount that was spent was 17,850 from the 20,000 that was given out. You'll find that this person will have a balance of what? Will have a balance of the difference between the two amounts. That is how basically the petty cash book is prepared. That is how the petty cash book is prepared. Let us meet in our next lesson. Thank you very much.